Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode on the Band of Insiders podcast. My name is Fons Jacobs and I have another feature episode for you all. In these feature episodes, I'm going to dive deep into some of the most interesting topics when it comes to innovation and technology and making sure that all this new tech becomes as understandable as possible for all of you. And next to that, some of these feature topics are more opinions of my own, things that I see out in the wild, so to say, and trends or things that I spot or insights that I would like to share with you all. This week's episode is one of those. I have been seeing a lot of these things popping up, and I think it's very interesting to share these with you because I think it's a very important trend for the foreseeable future. And I strongly believe that because everybody's so into AI and all brands have to focus on AI and technology and implementing everything, which again, I am definitely all for, but they might be overlooking this trend that is happening because of all of this. So I think it's super interesting. I think this is one of the better articles and therefore feature episodes that I've created for you. So without further ado, let's jump in and hope you enjoy it. So what I want to talk to you about today is the re-physicalization of everything. Let me start with a personal story. I have a big love for film photography ever since one of my old friends introduced me to it in 2019. Yes, the old school way of taking pictures. Your camera holds a roll of film which you can use to take 34 pictures on it. There's no way to see how the picture will look before you take it or after you took it. The result is that you have to trust your eye and you have to trust the moment. Why is it fun? I find it pure. No editing to save your ass. I mean, you could technically edit your pictures, but then you kind of lose the point of it, right? No 200 pictures of one moment to make sure you get the perfect one. It's raw, it's unfiltered, and it's very real. From the moment you took a picture, you can already start wondering and imagining how it will turn out to be. That to me is a big part of the fun of film photography. Then when the film is done, you have to bring the roll to a developer, which are even sometimes hard to find depending on the city where you're at. Some of them will get you your scans back by email within a couple of hours if you're lucky. And then the excitement from the moment your roll is full until you get the images is a big part of the joy. Did I catch the money shot? You can wonder and wonder. I did go back to trying digital photography when I moved to Bali. It's been fun, but seeing how incredible the AI tools have become over the last 12 months, I thought to myself, damn, digital photography is almost becoming too easy. So guess what? On my last trip to Bangkok, I went back to bringing just my film camera, and I loved it once again. Okay, but no worries. I am not here to make you guys pick up a film camera, although if you want to, definitely hit me up. This does lead me to sharing the thoughts I have had in my head for a while now. What will be the counter movement to AI? That was the big question I've been thinking about over the last couple of months. It is pretty clear that anything can be generated in the next few years. Anything can be done on the internet with just a few clicks, or just thoughts even. It will all look perfect, made for you personally at the exact right emotional moment. But just like digital photography can get you a highly polished, perfect picture, not everyone wants that all the time, right? As brand builders, marketeers, entrepreneurs, we always try to see where the world is moving towards so that we can adapt to certain trends that are going to pop up. While everyone is rushing to be as AI as possible, put AI into everything and optimize things with AI to the max, let's also look at the counteract towards that, which, in my humble opinion, will be the re-physicalization of everything. Before we come to what that means, let's look at other counter movements. With the rise of one trend, others rose as well. So, counter movement trends that we have seen before. First off, film versus digital photography. I already talked about it at length in the introduction. Sometimes the mistake you make in film photography is what makes the picture unforgettable, right? That imperfection is the point, and I guess I'm not the only one who agrees with me. The numbers are there. Kodak literally had to pause parts of its Rochester factory last year because they couldn't keep up with film demand. Their beloved Kodak Portrait 400 film roll has also skyrocketed in prices the last few years. You easily pay 20 to 30 euros per roll these days, which is crazy. I remember buying them for like 5 to 8 euros back in 2019. Another interesting one is Fujifilm's Instax cameras. The cameras that give you a small physical picture with it. Not really film cameras, but the same point, physical over digital. They grew into a billion-dollar business, driven by younger generations who crave physical keepsakes. Then there's vinyl versus streaming. Streaming gives you every song ever made for $10 a month. Yet, vinyl keeps growing in popularity. Why? Because dropping the needle, flipping a record, and holding the artwork is an experience you can't swipe. The proof? Vinyl sales in the US hit $1.4 billion in 2024, making it the 18th straight year of growth. Records outsold CDs for the third year in a row as well, and now make up almost 3/4 of all physical music revenue. Fun fact, one of my brothers, if you're listening, has a vinyl collection of 352 records at the moment. Makes it pretty easy to buy him a birthday gift actually. I love it. Next one, board games versus video games. As most of you know, I'm a big gamer. Gaming is everywhere and it influences everything, but that is a whole article on its own. You would think that with PlayStation, Switch, and games on every phone, Catan or Monopoly board games would be dead. Nope. Board games are thriving because they force us to gather around the table, argue over rules, and share snacks. A great moment for human connection, physically, which is a different feeling than online gaming. Because yes, I am the last person to say that online gaming isn't about connection or relationships. It's just different, and I love both. The global board game market was worth 12 to almost 14 billion in 2024, and is forecasted to grow into a 20 to 30 billion dollar industry over the next decade. In the US and Canada, hobby market alone, sales stayed steady at 2.8 billion in 2024, proving this is not a fad. Trading cards versus in-game items. Online games made digital items mainstream. Skins in Fortnite or Roblox are real status symbols. Entire economies have been built around them. You would think that would kill the appetite for old-school physical card collectibles, but it didn't. In fact, trading cards are having one of their strongest runs ever. Target says card sales jumped by 70% in Q2 2025, putting the category on track for $1 billion this year. PSA graded 20 million cards in 2024, their busiest year on record. Quick note on that, grading is when companies like PSA or BGS authenticate a card, judge its condition on a 1 to 10 scale, and seal it. A perfect 10 can multiply the value tenfold. Some of these cards have become long-term collectibles and even an investment category. The numbers prove it. In 1952, Mickey Mantle cards sold for $12.6 million. A Pokemon Illustrator Pikachu card for $5.3 million, and the LeBron James rookie patch auto for $5.2 million, showing that cards still commands record-breaking prices in a digital-first world. And this all happened before there was AI. What all these examples show is simple. Every time digital takes over, the physical doesn't vanish. In many cases, it even gets stronger. And with AI about to flood every corner of our digital lives, the appetite for physical, tangible, in-person will only accelerate. The early signs that this is already happening are here. A few months ago, I got introduced to a new concept. It's called a third place. A place that is not 1, your home, and not 2, your workplace, where you can go to hang out. Maybe work, chill, game, meet friends, enjoy a nice coffee, whatever it is. The popularity has been on the rise in the US and especially Asia. In Europe, third places are, for example, your favorite coffee store or cafe. But this is currently taking even further in other parts of the world. Entrepreneurs are building specific spaces just for this purpose. It feels like a home away from home. Not really just a coffee store or just a bookstore, but a vibe, in my opinion. Something a certain group of people could potentially heavily connect with. In Asia, these places are already becoming very mainstream. One of my good friends here on Bali has been living in Asia for the past 13 years. He still travels all over Asia as a freelance creative consultant, after doing massive projects like repositioning the complete Volkswagen brand for the Asian market as lead creative director. Just to say that I trust almost all his takes and insights. When I was talking to him about third places, he shared one of his recent Japan trips where he bumped into one of these places. A very living room feel where people would pay a certain fee for entry next to the slightly discounted food and beverages prices. Why a fee? Because if you want people to just come and hang, you can't sell a table every hour or so. So the economics have to make sense, of course, for the entrepreneur. And I think that's part of the trend that we will see emerge more and more. That is, people will be willing to pay more for physical, human connection-driven experiences and products. I talked about an example before when we were discussing humanoids in an earlier article. Let's look at this example again and take my big love, which is coffee. I 100% believe that, for example, Starbucks will have fully robot automated stores all over the world. They will be able to pour your favorite coffee exactly how you personally want it, in the same perfect way whatever store you walk into. It will cost you probably a few euros and done in 2 minutes. Do I like this? Of course. When I am on my way to a flight or to a meeting or any other moment I just need a quick coffee, I'd much rather have the perfect cup delivered by robots in a few minutes than a human-made, shitty version of coffee. Sorry to all the shitty coffee, but it's true. But on the other hand, there will be days where I really want to enjoy a great cup of coffee in a warm place, bring my girlfriend or meet friends. Something crafted with care by passionate coffee people like myself, where I can sit and enjoy, maybe bring a book. Absolutely true too. That is also the place where I am happy to pay more for that same amazing cup of coffee. Because it comes with so much more, right? The energy, the vibes, the coziness. These places won't disappear because of the competition of robot coffee shops. They will thrive because we will crave the human connection and vibe. So, two very different use cases, and both will thrive in my opinion. Another phenom that I recently got introduced to when I had a great conversation with one of the founders of Artifact is taking digital stuff into the physical world. Yes. When the metaverse boom happened a few years ago, you saw a lot of brands, companies, and creators take whatever they made in the physical world and turn that into digital versions. An example we always used was that the Gucci handbag in Roblox became more expensive than the physical version. Now, I do think this still makes sense for a lot of brands. In short, in my opinion, buying brands is about showing other people what you stand for, what your values are. That is it, bottom line. That's why we buy brands. I want to show people that the values of, for example, Arc'teryx or Nike connect with me. Showing others that those values are important to me, therefore showing a bit who I am to the outside world. In sports, it becomes even more clear. I wear an Ajax Amsterdam jersey to show the rest of the world that I support Ajax. So if someone spends hours a day in virtual worlds, they will also want to potentially show off their favorite brands because they are part of that identity or persona, right? So for brands, be there so they can actually do that. What I did not expect immediately though, is that large groups of people, especially Gen Z and younger, are now bringing the virtual world into the physical world. For example, there are massive rave parties where people show up with their self 3D printed outfits based on characters they designed virtually, accessories that look like things straight out of these games that everyone has been playing for the last years. Here's a great example. Soho House, not to confuse with Soho House, in Detroit, is looking to become a third place for exactly this target audience. They are combining, gaming, rave culture, a bit of hip hop, 3D printing, and coffee. The result? You should definitely check out their coffee cups, for example, on their Instagram page. And the cool part is, they will release all the files to their community so they can 3D print and build their own coffee cup robotics. It's crazy. And this trend will continue. These are just early signs of what is to come, in my opinion. This is also the same reason why I think, for example, sports will only go up in value. It is entertainment that cannot be generated, copied, or faked. The stories of athletes are as real as it gets, and maybe even more important, they are scarce. Will humanoid sport become a thing? Probably, but that won't take away from football, basketball, or other major sports. In the contrary, I think the more normal sports or weird sports will go mainstream. In combination of the human factor and streaming will turn the most random sports into online phenomena. Never forget that at the time, world's best chess player, Garry Kasparov, was beaten by an AI back in 1997. But AI versus AI chess matches never turned into a thing people cared about. The same will go for live music performances or local sports teams. Maybe we'll see a resurgence of book clubs. Did you know that independent bookstores are already on the rise, as 323 new stores opened in 2024 alone, the fourth year with 200 plus opening in the US. So, some closing thoughts. I can go on with other examples of areas where I think things will thrive because of this trend. But I believe the message is clear. Do not underestimate the physical. In fact, maybe double down on it. Every big tech leap makes us assume the old world will disappear, but instead the opposite happens. Parts of our physical side of life doesn't just survive, it becomes more valuable. AI will handle the frictionless stuff. It will write, design, serve, optimize. Great. But the things we will remember, the dinner with friends, the packed concert, the board game night, the ritual of dropping a needle on vinyl, those are built on human-to-human connection, and that's the scarcity of the future. So if you are building a brand, don't only ask, what's my AI play? Start asking, how do I double down on community? Where do you bring people together? What physical touchpoints make them feel a part of something bigger? And how do you design moments that cannot be screenshotted? Because the future won't be won by those who go all digital. It will be won by the ones who mix the best of both, speed and scale from tech, and depth and loyalty from the community. Human connection will thrive at the center of it all. Digital makes things efficient, physical makes things meaningful. And in a world of endless algorithms, meaning is what people will pay for. So, thank you. This was it for this week. I hope you found it interesting. If you want to chat about it or brainstorm more, definitely hit me up. It's always fun to do so, and I'm happy to help you out with this new way of thinking. If you have any questions, send me a DM on Instagram or LinkedIn. And for now, I will leave it at that. Thanks again for watching or listening. Don't forget to subscribe and give us 5 stars on your favorite podcast platforms. And hopefully we'll see you again next week. This is Fons Jacobs for Band of Insiders, signing out. Peace.